Hi, I'm Rana Powell Winfrey, and this is the website that I chose to look at for the graphics. It's Miss Zyder's first grade website because I chose to do my own classroom website for when we are required to do one. The first thing I noticed is the teacher web graphic that's to the far left. It was an apple. It links to Teacher Web, which is where Miss Sider created her website. I thought that this shows where the teacher created her website from, so this was a good idea to have it on there. The next thing I noticed was the kids in the middle of the screen. This makes the website seem kid friendly and shows that it represents a primary classroom, so I think it was a good choice to use. And I think it's a good size because it does catch your eye. As you move over to the right side of the screen, you have a small schoolhouse, and this takes you to the school website. And then the last thing up here at the top is an email icon. It allows the users to send the teacher an email. In my opinion, I think it's a good idea to have this on a website. However, I do think it could be smaller than what they have it on here because it is a little, not really distracting, but it catches your eye more than some of the things do. The next thing that I thought that was kind of interesting was right here in the middle of the web page, there is a banner that it scrolls across, and it has all of the students' names that this teacher has in her first grade classroom. So it sort of represents like a class roll. I think it is an interesting idea to have a class roll on your website. However, I don't know if this would be the best way to represent it because I do think it could be a little distracting. I think it's a nice thought. It does show creativity on the teacher's part, but I do believe as it scrolls over and over that it could be distracting. Then as we continue down the web page, you'll notice there are a lot of graphics on this page. I'm just scrolling down to show you the different graphics, and then I'll go back and discuss some of these graphics. One of the things that did catch my eye was the background. All of these little spirals. I think the green color works really well, but the spirals can be a little distracting, especially if you click on some of the other graphics and it takes you to a new page. Some of them are harder to read because of having the same background on there. But as we go through here, the web graphics that we see, first of course is a welcome sign, and it serves as a short welcome message to parents and students. I think just having a graphic that says welcome does serve the purpose. The next one is a crayon box, and it links to the class blog. I didn't really get the correlation between having the crayon box and having a class blog. In my opinion, it would have been something that more technology related because of it being a blog. The next one says Meet Mrs. Zyder. It's the teacher and her students, and it links to a page just on some information about meeting the teacher. I think the graphic does meet the purpose, but I think a graphic of just maybe a teacher without the students would have worked better. As we come to the next row, we have the open doors next, and it says our classroom door is open as its text. It's pretty much gives general information about the classroom for the parents and students to understand what goes on in the classroom. I think this was a great graphic to use. It has open doors and says exactly what the text tells them. Our classroom door is open. The next one, weekly class newsletter. The picture was of a student with art. I didn't feel that this graphic served the purpose because I didn't understand the relationship between the newsletters and a student doing art. So to me, that was not really a great graphic other than it being a kid-friendly graphic. The next one was the graphic that was animated that said May, and underneath it you see the text says calendar. I think it does serve its purpose. However, I think just a picture of a calendar would have been fine. Not necessarily did it have to be animated or anything. On the next row, we have parent volunteers, be a supportive parent, and slideshows. The one that has the girl student and the one that has the boy student about being a supportive parent, I feel that these could have possibly been connected somehow, and maybe this should have been a picture of an older person or of a parent with a child instead of just being of a student. I understand they may have put this here to keep it kid friendly, but I think I would have had something there that represented a parent and a child, and probably would have connected these two pages together instead of having two separate pages. The next one, oh, sorry. The next one says slideshows of 1314. It has the curtains. It shows slideshows of several activities throughout the year. I think it does serve its purpose, and if you clicked on it, it would take you to slideshows of several different activities that this classroom has done throughout the 13-14 school year. The next row has links for kids, links for parents, and links for teachers. I think it would have been great to either have these connected, or since it is for kids, parents, and teachers, they could separate them, and they could have, and they could have used computers or anything that was technology related. But I think that this teacher did a great job finding her graphics, especially for the kids. You know, the computer's on the surfboard, it's moving and it's a little animated, but not distracting. For the parents, of course, the baby on the computer screen. And then I think it was really cute for the one for the teachers to have the computer drinking the coffee, because that's, of course, what a lot of us teachers do. So I think these graphics worked really well, and it's not moving enough to be too distracting, so I think that these were great graphics to use for these topics. On the next row, it's more subject related. We have reading, spelling, and phonics, and writing. The student reading a book, it's a cute graphic, and I believe it does serve its purpose because it's talking about reading. The one in the middle with the student that is a girl, she is spelling the word cat, so she is using her spelling and her phonics skills, so I think that one is also appropriate. And then the last one is on writing. It has a book there. I think this reminds me more of reading than it does of writing, but I think I would have preferred, in my opinion, to see a student writing, or of a pencil and paper, something that looks more like writing instead of just using a book. On the next one, we have the students that look like they're using a telescope, a magnifying glass, doing stuff for plants. So this makes me think more of science or social studies, so the text there is a little confusing with what a wonderful world. So maybe they should have changed the text to science and social studies, and I think that graphic would have gone along really well with science and social studies instead of just having what a wonderful world. To me, that's a little confusing. The next one in the middle, math plus me equals fun. Of course, it tells you that section is going to be all about math, so I think this graphic does serve its purpose. The last one over here on the right, the text says assessments, and I see that it's a student with graphing. I didn't really get the relationship of the graphing, except that it could be representing the data that they have from assessments. Maybe a picture with a grade would have also worked, instead of just using a picture with a graph. On the next three graphics, we've got a boy with a flag, a girl with an apple, and then a girl with a honey pot. These three just tell about voting for websites, the awards they've gotten for doing this website. To me, these sections could have been put together, and we would not have just had so many graphics. I understand they wanted to keep it probably equal and balanced, but I just feel like maybe this is a little too much. Next, we had educational quotes, and they had just the quote, "Be happy." I think it serves its purpose. The next one was one that I thought that was really cute, taking a trip down memory lane using the school bus, and the school bus represents being able to go back and look at this website from year to year with this teacher's class. So I thought that was a very good use of text and graphics. And then the last one on this section is the wish list. I thought it was a very clever idea for the graphic to use the wand over the school books. It provides a wish list of supplies that the teacher wishes for in her classroom, so I thought that was very cute. And then the last section that we have, of course, is the guest book for the website, a way that parents can get site updates, and a detective that shows how to get around the site map. First, the two students with the book for the signing of the guest book. We know, of course, that section does serve as a guest book. Looking at it, if it did not have sign our guest book, I would not think about that. I would think of more of reading. So maybe something else would have been better in this section, except it does have it labeled as sign our guest book. So I say that yes, it does serve its purpose. In the middle, I like that it says newsflash and it has it written 3 times. This allows parents to sign up for an email that tells them when the website has been updated. So I think that is very appropriate for them to have newsflash. And then the last one, the detective, it serves as a site map, and I believe this graphic does serve its purpose, but when you click on it, the page it takes you to is very hard to read, as I mentioned from the background before. So overall, after looking at this website, I do feel that it's a very cute, kid-friendly, and engaging website. I think that the teacher who created it did a very good job. I'd also like to use this type of template when I do my own classroom website, but I don't think I would have quite as many pages as she did, or quite as many graphics. Overall, I think maybe this did have too many pages and too many graphics, and I think that could lead to distraction. I feel like there could be some pages on here that were taken away from this page and maybe even reinforced with some others. But after looking at this website, as well as looking at some other teacher websites that were made, I've discovered that there is a place for graphics on websites, but you don't have to overdo a site with graphics. And this assignment has definitely given me a lot to think about when putting graphics on my own website. Thanks so much.